Hey Feisties, it's Kelly, and I wanted to make sure you knew that this week, old Sarah and I are bringing you a special daily show from the Women's Ironman World Championship in Nice. Your regular podcast on our break this week, then they'll be back. But we, in the meantime, will have all the news and interviews from the ground here in France, and you can sign up for our short daily newsletters, enter the giveaway from our sponsors, now worth over $3,000, and you can RSVP for our underwater photo shoot and shakeout run at the link in the show notes or feistytriathlon.com/not here to play nice. And of course, get your not here to play nice shirts. Because why are we here? We're here to swim, bike, run, race, but we are not here to play nice.
Good morning. Sarah Gross here with Kelly O'Mara. We are on day 3 now.
Yes.
Of our live coverage from Nice. Oh, I'm losing my voice now. Kelly, we started our pop-up shop this morning. It was so fun to see people.
People are starting to come by, right? Like I know there's like some people who still aren't getting in until tomorrow. I know some people got in last night and are adjusting. Meaning still in bed. Right. But there are starting to be people. So we started our pop-up shop. We had I don't know what, we've had like a dozen people come by. We have our live studio audience today.
Yay!
Very excited.
And it's a first rainy morning too.
It is rainy.
Well, it's a little bit chilly.
I know. I feel like everyone's like pulling out their sweatshirts, which is actually really. We'll talk in a second. Like I went down to the practice swim, just like they do in Kona. They do like a practice swim that's kind of a race for the pros, kind of just like a practice for the age, and like it was cold.
Yeah,
I mean, it was actually quite. Everyone was like, "Oh, it was very nice conditions for swimming," but for standing, it was
for standing and doing media. And I also think it's the kind of like low key drizzle where you're like, it's fine when you first leave the house, and then an hour later when you've been standing in it and you're kind of getting wet and cold, it's not so nice.
Yeah, now that everybody's getting in, we were laughing because we were having massive internet issues. Yes, we did not have internet, which is challenging as a media company. So we went down to I was like, okay, I know where like the Ironman crew is. We're just going to walk in there and we're just going to use their internet. And then which
was like a very swanky hotel. I felt like the riffraff a little bit walking in there.
But then that totally didn't work out because instead we ran into like every single operations person, the race director, the announcer, the photographers, and we
haven't seen anyone yet, really, have we?
You mean before that? No.
Before that. So it was like, hi.
Yeah. So we ended up talking on them. And so I don't know if people know this, but there's the woman who's like, she's not the race, she's the head of World Championship events. Mm-hmm. She lives in Hawaii. And so because she runs Kona, she runs this, runs Diana. Mm-hmm. And so she has to come here. She comes here a lot. That is a long trip from Kona.
Especially from Hawaii. Yeah. Yes. It's a lot of time change.
Time change. So I felt a little bad for her. But she is a go-getter. She gets it done.
She's a go-getter. She seemed fresh-faced.
She's ready to go.
She's probably been here for a while.
Yeah. We also, the video Ironman crew was breaking down their set, because they've been doing all their videos. They have like a new documentary out, with like behind the scenes. So they were breaking down their set when they were done, and we were right there, and they were like, do you guys want, and Nils came out.
Oh yeah.
I was like, do you guys want to do some professional photo shoots?
Nils Nilsson, who's been photographer forever. Yeah. And so they were photographing all the pros, and we got to do our own photo too. Yeah. So watch for that.
Watch for professional feisty photos. So it is like people are starting to be here.
Joanne?
The announcer, who did Kona last year, and it was her first Mike Riley had retired, right? And they wanted to and Joanne has done Europe forever, and they wanted to bring her in, and so she was very, very nervous last year because it was her first world championship as the main person,
the main announcer.
Yeah,
and it's it sounds. You say announcer and you think, oh, they're announcing race day, but actually, because of all of the events of the week, that person ends up just announcing all day long every day. By the time they get to race day, they're actually kind of hoarse.
Yeah, they had just gotten done doing a run through of the press conference, which I was just very. Do you think people make up fake questions and fake answers?
I don't know. Next year, I want to be part of the fake question committee and just ask the hardest questions.
So they're all, but she said she was obviously very nervous last year because that was kind of the first one. And this year it's still nervous, but also excited because I think we're also kind of the women haven't raced. I mean, we raced here when we did 70.3 Worlds, but the women haven't had an Ironman World Championship here yet. It's kind of like it's a little unknown. A little bit.
Yeah.
Which is fun.
Yeah. It's fun. It's good. Yeah. I liked how, we were talking to some people out here this morning at our amazingly popular pop-up shop.
Wildly popular.
And there was quite a few people. I'm not being funny. And then someone said, oh, they were like, because we're asking people like why they're here, and someone said, oh, like she's really here to take on the bike course, which I loved.
Sure. Right? It is quite the bike course. So I jumped our fence because we can't get out of our fence and went across to the beach to the practice swim. And so I was talking to the new Ironman CEO at the practice swim because he was obviously down there, of course. Scott. Mm-hmm. And I was telling him how when I rode half the bike course last year, just when I was here, I like stopped at an ice cream shop because I was like too hot. Mm-hmm. And we were debating whether or not like people could just stop in the middle, get an ice cream.
You're allowed to do that, aren't you?
Sure.
They probably don't have their credit card on them or carrying euros. It's probably not. Maybe later.
Phone? Yeah.
Maybe later in the race. Like if you're not trying to win your age group or something.
You stop at the ice cream shop.
Take ice cream money. That's our
and that's not really
for the day.
Really possible in Kona. So there you go.
That's not really possible.
There you go.
Up in Havi, you could
stop in Havi.
You'd have to go a bit further though into town.
But there isn't really anything along the way. And here you have many small French towns.
Right.
So options.
Wow. Options I never would have thought of until you brought it up. Amazing.
But I went to the swim. I went to the practice swim mostly because you can see it from our balcony. But also I want to see that's like, how all the pros like go to test things out and eye each other. Yeah. I remember saying how you're like standing around and they'll be like, oh, how does she look? Does she look really good? Like, how far ahead of me was she? Right? Like they like start reading a lot into it.
That's true.
Yeah.
The other thing to say is that like when we say practice swim at a world championships, it's a little bit different than an everyday Ironman where it's like practice swim would just mean like you show up at a certain in a certain window and you can swim. This is an actual like a race. Yeah. So that's why you end up with like people figuring out who's on swim form and it's sometimes the first time the pros are seeing each other too.
The other thing, so in Kona, they do it a week before, so they do the full course because that's like enough time to kind of recover from that. Here, because it's Wednesday, they did half the course, so it was only about, I think it was like 27 minutes or something so Beck Clark is who got out of the water first. So if people want to know how people looked, Beck Clark got out of the water first. Chelsea wasn't that far behind her, like maybe a minute, 45 seconds. And then Kat was like another minute behind her. Right. So,
And people might have different like training plans.
You really like reading a lot into it is like kind of fun.
Yeah. But people do, of course.
But people do. Mm-hmm. And it was very funny though, because all the pros do the whole like, the horn goes off and they're running and then they hit the rocks. And then even the pros had to like stop.
You got some good video of that. Maybe we should share it. It's like
that was pretty
there's
funny.
No easy way to get in the water on those rocks.
No. I mean, I think for the actual race, the carpet's going to go a little further, but still, if you're here, you might want to practice.
Yeah. Great point. It's not just me.
No. It's mostly you. Yeah.
It was harder to get into the water than I expected.
Yeah. If you are around, I guess by the time this goes up, we will be at the expo later today on a panel, so we'll bring all the insights from that tomorrow. And then yesterday, we did talk to Haug, so we're going to hear from our partners, and then we're going to hear from Anne.
Every triathlete deals with injuries, and more times than not, injuries mean less running or even time off from running. This is where Lever comes in. Lever uses a skeleton frame and elastic cord that you can build yourself and fit onto most treadmills. The system holds you slightly above the treadmill, allowing you to move under partial body weight support. You can take up to 45 pounds off your body weight, meaning that you can run on the treadmill but with less impact on your muscles and joints. This can be helpful in returning from injury or maintaining high volume training while reducing the likelihood of getting injured. Running at a reduced body weight allows you to run pain-free through niggles, rehab from injuries, and increase your performance. The Lever system was also the award winner of the Best Run Product by Global Triathlon Awards and is only around $1,000. Learn more about the Lever system at levermovement.com and use the clickable link in our show notes for 20% off a Lever system. Don't forget to use that clickable link in our show notes and get 20% off a Lever system. Triathletes everywhere trust Precision Fuel and Hydration to help them nail their race nutrition, including top athletes racing in Nice like Fenella Langridge, Danielle Lewis, and Jocelyn McCauley. Precision is also the official hydration partner of the 2024 VinFast Ironman World Championship in Nice. You can use their free fuel and hydration planner to get a personalized strategy for your next big race, including advice on how much carbohydrate, sodium, and fluid you need to perform at your best. They have a range of gels, chews, and drinks that make it really easy to hit your numbers. Plus, you can book in for a free video consultation to discuss your race nutrition plan and get your questions answered by a member of their friendly and experienced athlete support crew. Feisty podcast listeners can get 15% off their first order of fuel and electrolytes with Precision Fuel and Hydration. Simply use the code FTP15 when checking out at pfnh.com. That's the code FTP15 when checking out at pfnh.com for 15% off.
And good to see you. How long have you been in Nice?
We arrived last week on Monday.
Okay, so have you been out around the course figuring it out?
Yeah, I did the whole loop, and yesterday bits and pieces, and yeah, I know the course by the time quite well.
Yes, I bet you will. And okay, honestly, like on paper, you are my absolute favorite to win this thing. I think it's going to take like someone who's used to European roads, who can ride a bike really well, obviously, and who can run fast. Do you also think that you could win?
Oh, you never know. I mean, you always wish to win, but that's something everyone wants to. And yeah, I mean, I think I could get in a decent shape after all the trouble I had this year. So my year was pretty much of a roller coaster of sickness. And yeah, so I had 4 really good weeks now. And yeah, but you never know how much influence all the inconsistency this year had on my performance on race day. So we will find out. And I hope I can surprise myself, because every time I raced at least long course, it was pretty well and unexpected. But, I mean, the key to be successful is always consistency in training, and I missed that a bit, but maybe 20 years of high performance sport can yeah, I can get around with that, but you never know.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I think you could probably get away with it now. How's your descending?
Yeah, you never know. I mean, you do it on your own. You never know how good the others are, but I think I feel confident now. I did it yesterday with my boyfriend, who was a former mountain bike cyclist. So he showed me good lines, and I think I learned a lot from yesterday. And yeah, I feel safe and confident. I think that's what you need. But to do it under race conditions is always a different story. You know, you're tired after 160K in your legs. So I think the key is to still be able to may have a concentrated descent, and that's what I'm going for. But I mean, yeah, I did it now 3 times, 1 time under race conditions at the 70.3 race. So I did my best, and I hope for the best, and I hope I'm not the worst descender.
Oh, I very much doubt you will be. Okay, so in Kona in 2023, you came second and you ran 2:48. And there was a lot of talk afterwards about how you had changed things up with your nutrition and leaned more towards protein. Why was that? And are you still on that protein-based nutrition plan?
It's not complete protein based. It's for sure carbohydrate based, but I need bits and pieces of protein in it, because my body is just not capable to run fully on carbohydrates. Just a body change. I had a bit medical problems, and that's the way how I can get the best performance out of myself. But yeah, you always have to be, I mean, the nutrition is always the 4th discipline in an Ironman, and you have to get it right. And I think in Roth, it was the first time I really get it right this year. So then you have amazing performance out of it, because it's just so important to fuel your body. And yeah, I hope I do a good job here as well.
Yeah. So to be clear, it's not just protein. Obviously, you're taking in a lot of carbohydrate. How much carb versus protein approximately do you take during the race?
No, I mean, it's 98%. it's carbs, and I have a shake with me. So yeah.
So you added a little bit of protein and helped a lot. Oh yeah, that makes sense. Did you add more protein to your regular diet as well?
Yeah. I mean, I can't eat fast carbs anymore, but I eat oats and all the good stuff, the good carbs, but I have to be careful with like sugary foods or shitty carbs. Like, just do a very healthy diet and don't get the spikes all the time, because my body is just very sensible to that. And once you know that, what works, what not works, it's like, I can live with it, and I love quark. So quark and nuts is my main source of energy, and yeah, I like it, and it doesn't compromise my life.
Right. So it sounds like you just end up eating what you should be eating anyway.
Exactly, just a very healthy diet.
And we know how fast you can run. Do you think this is a fast run course? Like, do you think it's possible to have a world record run here?
For sure, it's possible because, I mean, what else should a fast run have than being completely flat and have a 5K straight? But, I mean, it's triathlon. It's always a complex sport, and what you do on the run has a strong influence on what you can be able to show on the run. So, of course, I always want to show what I'm capable of in the run, but in the end, the overall performance is what counts here in a world championship. And if it means you have to go hard on the bike and burn a few candles for the run, then it's a way to be on top of that. But yeah, I've obviously hoped for a strong run.
Yes, and we know you will have one. Well, we're always cheering for you. And thank you for doing the interview. And good luck out there on Sunday.
Thanks very much.
All right, Sarah, so you've actually known Anne for a pretty long time, right?
Right, to be clear.
Yeah.
Yeah,
for ages.
Me and Anne go way back. Yeah, no. So I did train a couple times with Anne at training camps with our old coach when she was, I think she was an ITU athlete. It was before she was long course. I do remember her lapping me on the track.
Oh, nice.
Or just seeing a lot of because she is such a good compact runner. We know she's a fast runner, but she's also a very economical runner, which is really fun to watch.
Sure.
And so I remember running behind her on the track and just trying to channel as much of her running ability as possible. So yeah, I do know Anne, and I do remember her in ITU racing because she in that context wasn't as great a swimmer. In the Ironman context, she's an average swimmer, in the middle of the field.
But ITU, you have to be faster.
But at ITU, and so she'd sometimes come out behind the main pack and have to. And I remember numerous World Cup events where Anne just bridged up by herself on her bike, to the pack. So she does have she
has
always
that ability,
had that bike ability, which is a little bit why she's one of my favorites.
I was gonna say, after we got done too, you were like, "Oh, you said to me, you're like, oh, she looks relaxed." So she seemed. I love how we always we read a lot in this week. We're like,
Well, my other experience, I know, right? Because I'm you're that's why I wanted to be
and people are texting me, "How do people look?" Right? And you're like, "That's such a dumb whatever."
And now my context where I know Anne is that I interview her every year before the World Championships. And so, but it does give you a perspective, right? Where it's this year you can see she's a little bit more tense one year or whatever.
Sure.
And this year I can completely see, she was very relaxed. She was just hi, where are we going to, whereas other times I've really felt that pressure to get the interview over as quickly as possible because she just wants to be back chilling somewhere. So yeah, I do feel she was kind of chill in a good mindset. She's also 42.
Yeah.
Which I didn't bring up in the interview because I never want to make too much. I think she can still perform. I don't think 42 is going to be a limiter for her.
Sure.
But she is a pro that is she has a lot of experience, and I think that experience can work for her.
We talked about this on the If We Were Writing podcast before we left. When you look, because I was putting together kind of the landing page for us on the top pros and stuff, the ages are all. They're old is what they're ages that nobody is super young. Not Chelsea. Lucy is the youngest, and her birthday was 2 days ago, and she just turned 31. Everybody else is 37 and 39.
No 20-somethings this year?
I mean, not in the. There are that exist, but not if you were going to name the top contenders. The top contenders are all in their late 30s, mid 30s, which is fascinating. I mean, it's not fascinating. It's kind of what we're used to, but it is.
It has it's always been kind of an older sport to peak, but it has aged up a couple of years over the last little bit as we've kind of figured out performance more too. Sure. People can be having longer careers.
The other thing though, so obviously when you asked Anne if she was going to win, which I would love for somebody to just be yes, or
I know, I
no,
really want
absolutely not. I will not be winning. But she talked about, and this is not a secret. She's actually talked about this before, how she's been really sick this year. And it's been really up and down, right? That was why she dropped out. She dropped out of T100 San Francisco at the last minute because she had been sick, and she was she didn't think her body could handle the cold. And then she rebounded and she did Roth, and then so she's been up and down. And then we haven't seen her since Roth because she was sick again. But then she's been able to get in a solid month of training. So but she's not the only one. Like, I'm 100% hearing lots of rumors, which I do love Rumor Week, but people who are, like, the pros who are trying to balance, like, niggles and, like, coming down with something.
It
and
seems like a lot this year. Like, I don't know. No one's talking about, like, the person who, like, who's the pro that people are talking about that, like, she's ready to go. Like, I haven't heard that yet. Have you?
I don't know. Maybe we just haven't, we're just not, like, looking at them right. But no, but it's been a long year is the thing. Like, it's not just, like, yes, being a pro athlete is 100% riding the line of, like, being fit enough but also healthy. Mm-hmm. It's not a healthy thing to do, generally speaking.
Yes.
But also this year, a lot of people, there's a T100 and the Ironman. And then if you did the pro series, you did, like, multiple Ironmans and you did the T100. And there's, like, a reason Lucy originally said she wasn't going to race here, because she knows when she tries to peak too many times, it's hard on her body and she gets hurt. Mm-hmm. And then she, for reasons of her own, decided to race here. And I'm, like, glad, like, she's my pick. Mm-hmm. But obviously she's also been balancing that. Yes. It's just a lot of commitments.
I think it's interesting because there's a lot of, a lot of the pros have committed to a lot more, like, how do you say it? Like, short, long course races, if that makes sense, because of the Ironman series and the
T100. You can't remember what it's called?
Well,
because it's a dumb name.
Yeah, they changed the names a few times, to be fair. So, yeah, I think it's like we don't really know necessarily, like, where that balance is. Like, they're just figuring it out. Like, and if that pro series, if the T100 continues, you know, over time, people will figure out, like, how many of those races they can balance with the World Championships Ironman.
And you made the point that I think people also not underestimated Nice, because obviously everybody's been, like, nervous about the bike course, but kind of forgot it's, like, a month earlier. And in our heads, we've, like, heard so many years and decades of, like, Kona, it's, like, it's so hard. Mm-hmm. That they were like, oh, I'm just going to go do another race in France, right? Like, they didn't like, fully emotionally dock the like, level of intensity it takes. Yeah. So it's a lot. It's a lot. Mm-hmm. We also, with everybody getting in, and we're, like, officially in race week, and Ironman officially started sending out their daily press releases, which I like half love and half think are hilarious. What are they called this year? They Foles de, like, they have a French name.
It's Souffle.
Yeah. But it's they always come up with these, like, French names. So they sent out theirs yesterday, and it has the official. We finally officially have the number of how many people are here, even though our studio audience had already figured it out. So she was right. It's like 14. So I just want everyone to know, it's about 1470-ish bibs out officially. That obviously won't
1470. Okay.
Mm-hmm. It won't be how many start, of course. So it is a little less, like, but I think, like, I feel like we need to remember, we always knew that was going to be the case. Like, they shot themselves in the foot with qualification timelines of when races were around Kona last year, and North American races. Like, that was, like, and it's fought, like, this was always going to be an uphill battle because of
well, it was
choices that were made.
There were things stacked together.
Yeah.
Right. And I think a lot of people wanted to make it about, like, how hard the course is and do women really want to do it, but I actually don't think that's the case at all.
No.
Like, I think
because everyone, like, I don't think overwhelmingly that is why people are choosing or not choosing to do it.
I think it's travel to Nice, right? And then, like you said, like, there wasn't a lot of opportunities to qualify.
At least in North America, which is still where, like, the majority of their female base is. And it's like, if you want to grow that female base in Europe, that's great, that's fine, but that takes a while. That's not going to happen in 10 months.
Yeah.
And then we also know the whole, like, what was my joke last year when this is? Like, we know that women deal with childcare issues more, and we know that it's really, really hard to deal with that to train for one Ironman. If you had to do an Ironman to qualify, and then you also have to do one to come here, and then, like, we're probably not going to solve systemic sexism in, like, a year.
In the 10 months.
In the 10 months between Kona and now. So,
and even the pay gap is a discrepancy too. Like, if we're making 80 cents on the dollar, then, like, trips to Nice are less. You know, it just becomes, like, less.
Thing. It just, like, it adds people, a lot of factors. So, but yeah, so there's a little under 1,500, 1,470 something. I'm sure it'll be something less than that at the start. But I feel good about it. I think we're gonna have, like, what was it last year? We had a 97% finish rate.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be great.
Yeah,
and I think there's gonna be a lot of people who feel really, really good about that bike course. Like, who actually
after they finish it,
right? To be clear, they finish it, because I think there are some nerves going in.
Yeah,
like, you're in a different country, you're climbing hills, like you're climbing mountains bigger than what most people have around them. Like, I mean, some people can train in the mountains. You're descending on roads and cobbles that you don't normally descend on. So I think that it will be a confidence building course once you're done.
Yeah. I mean, so everyone knows I like really wanted to do it. And then we all decided that was a really dumb idea. But it does, like, I like how we're all here now. We're all like, that would have been hilarious.
If you were racing this week, I don't know. I might kill you.
But I really wanted to do it because it sounded really exciting and fun. But then we were like, that's a really dumb idea.
We have way too many things to do. We can't even go without internet for a few hours without not
everything collapsing.
Yeah.
But I wanted to because it did sound really cool and it did sound really fun. And I was like, this will be exciting. And I don't have a desire to do Kona again because I find it boring. I'm not going to do it again until I'm like 70. But I was like excited about this, right?
Right. So, excited about something new. Yeah. And I think some people are. And we talked to a lot of excited people this morning too.
So, all right.
Okay. Before we go, are we done?
Are we done?
Is that your whole...
That was my whole speech. Thank you. Yes, thank you.
Sorry. Is that everything you wanted to talk about this morning, Kelly? Yeah. Okay. I wanted to take a moment to thank our sponsors, Precision Hydration, who are actually in the house
next door. So if you can't find our house, you look for the bright light up, I love precision sign. And we're next door.
Their signage is amazing. And I almost want to do like one of those funny reels where it's like, their signage versus ours, and ours has like the wah, wah kind of music because it's like we have the Feisty banner that I got out from my garage from Kona last year, and we unrolled it and hung it up out there.
So if you can't find us, you can find
Look for Precision,
and we have samples too from them. And lever, we can't decide. I say lever because of the US, but it is lever. Yeah, I just say it very American. It's fine.
And Pillar. Our Pillar stuff finally arrived. Yeah. So I got my proper magnesium last night.
Good. And you slept
like a baby. Yeah.
Which is, Sarah not sleeping's been an issue.
It's been an issue.
Yeah. So
time change.
So come by. We have samples of all the stuff. We have shirts. And make sure you sign up if you're listening to this tonight for our swim tomorrow, because we will be sending out all those details. Yeah. And honestly, I mean, if you don't sign up, and you come by around 8,
we might let you have an underwater photo
if there's enough left over, and sign up for our giveaway. And you don't have to be here to do that, but we will be giving away a bunch of stuff.